purchase from us. Part of speech tag set. So we all know there are nouns and verbs and so on in Sinhala and Tamil, but it's very difficult to get from a textbook a real language. I mean, we can get all these for toy languages, toy sentences, but for real language, it's very hard. And so we've built a part of speech tag set again, which is we want to widely distribute so that people reuse. A lot of the problems is that people reinvent the wheel all the time. Part of the Sinhala corpus is now tagged using these part of speech tags manually, so that we could try new things with that tagged corpus. Bilingual corpora, Sinhala, Tamil, English, Sinhala, and so on. Parallel corpus. Speech corpus, the single female voice. We have a speech corpus. Somebody in this audience was saying that they were also building these kind of tools, resources, and we would like to collaborate in that kind of thing. Another kind of project where we partnered with a commercial entity where we collected a speech corpus in a narrow domain for 2,000 voices. Again, something that we want to make available to others based on the agreement with this other party. Pronunciation dictionary, so you have words and how are they pronounced in Sinhala and Tamil. Dictionary and corpus-based lexica, how do we build a lexicon or a word list by manual method and by using our large corpus. And then other tools like morphological analysis, which incidentally plays a huge role in most Indic languages, in every task that we have to do, in virtually in every tool we have to build. Sinhala WordNet, this is another interesting resource to build, and obviously we don't have the bandwidth to do these things in our small lab. So this is basically a session where I invite all of you to join us to make this WordNet what it should be. It should be a large usable WordNet. Named entity dictionary, stop word list. Some of these are a little technical, so I will not talk too much. Basically, even the OCR text that we have can be used as a resource for someone else to actually improve the kind of performance we have at the moment. So how do we upscale this? How do we take this from just our project to actually to something that is workable, usable by the majority of people? We find that many projects build their own resources and then they are lost after the project, because typically these are done by undergraduates or postgraduate students. And then they report results of various accuracies which have no meaning because they cannot be compared with any other similar tool developed, because they use a different set of data and so on. So progress has been very slow in developing language tools in Sinhala and Tamil. And most have been piecemeal solutions. We have something, and everybody says, yes, it was there, it was presented, but where is it now? Nobody knows. Fundamentally, most of our projects are funded, and most of the university projects are funded. And so I think this is a call that to actually share linguistic resources and tools so that others can join. And two nice mechanisms for doing this is, for tool building, the nice mechanism is competition. So you have competitions where you say, we give this data, you build something like something to do some task, and compete against other teams that build the same tasks. same tool for the same task, and then you evaluate using some standard method, and then you award something or something like that. For tool building, for resource building, which is a much more kind of tedious process, various kind of what I call exton. So translator-thon is one way to, let's say, translate a whole lot of documents. For instance, Wikipedia is one of the great resources we have, but it's all in English. Chitrangani said how we've expanded some of the Sinhala translations on this, but sometimes that voluntary self-generated self-interest thing takes a long time. So we may have to have some, 24-hour efforts where we get all the people to come together and really do something like this to get others involved. So finally, I think the importance of technology dissemination is very important, because currently there is some technology. There is already a lot of technology that is not used. And for this, we need to partner with schools and other educational organizations, because that's where people get formed and get their habits. Government organizations where legislation can be made. Vendors who provide technology support in the periphery. And then, of course, grassroots and community-based organizations. And then, of course, we have not really done too much in the area of mobile development and voice-based services. And these are becoming more and more important, because they go beyond the traditional boundaries of the internet, which is normally associated with the computer. Finally, empowering local language majorities, more indigenous participation. I mean, I think many of us are familiar with the story of Sri Lanka cricket, which basically, by going out to the whole country, was able to raise the standard by several-fold. And I think this kind of technology, also currently done only in the universities and a few places, can definitely benefit if we spread the net wider. So we need to get more people into the basics. More chance of finding niches for even global leverage. So there are some things that I think we can contribute to the other parts of the world. So a lot of the software that is developed is for business organizations and so on, but we have much more things like our Shramadaners, our agriculture. I mean, there can be so many other kinds of software that we need to build. So this is not just social service, it is actually for social development and actually even global competitiveness. I just put down some of our collaborators here while I wait for any questions.
Are you finished?
Yep.
Okay. Dr. Ruwan, thank you so much for sharing this. I think what I understand from what you're saying is that you have the technology, you have the knowledge resources available to get a lot of content in the local language of your choice, right? Not just Sinhalese. The same technology can be used for various other languages.
Actually, what we have already produced also is not used because of the need for dissemination, lack of dissemination. Universities are not very good at dissemination.
So what do you think is the reason why we are not able to scale up and use the technology that you have on a wider scale, where commercial entities could get interested in using this technology in the market to develop more and more content in the local languages and make it a commercially viable or economically viable business, so that more and more people who do not want to use English on the net would probably use the local languages. So is there a learning that you have had while you're thinking of this work?
I think we have a lot of reasons for that, but one of the things is that till fairly recently, it was not accepted that we need to go to the local languages. So the solution to this whole problem was to teach everybody English. I mean, I think till quite recently, that was the main solution.
Could it also be a problem where, since you or experiments like these are generally government funded within the universities and the small groups who control these experiments, they they are unable to find a way to go to the market and find commercial partners and talk money in simple terms.
Yeah,
think,
as I was saying during the lunch break, Sri Lankans are not used to buying software. I mean, we are not selling this stuff, but the person who is commercializing has to charge something. But of course, when you can get Microsoft Office for free, why should you pay for a spell checker or So there are these kinds of cultural issues also. But I think we still can learn from how some of the other countries have done and solve this problem.
Any questions? Yeah. Gentleman in the t-shirt. Mike, please.
Yeah, so good question. Google Translate translates 58 language pairs. And this is something we can really do with some crowdsourcing effort, because one of the hardest things we found, because Google uses statistical machine translation, one of the hardest things we found is how to get parallel data. Parallel data, when you say translated documents, but the translation must be sentence to sentence, not paragraph to paragraph or story to story. So definitely, if you have some way of having access to that kind of data, you're definitely welcome. And so that reminds me that I don't have a slide here with our email address. So while I'm answering this question, I will type that one here. Yeah, so basically that's the more data that we have. In statistical machine translation, the more data is better data. So currently we are working with like parallel corpora of 2,000, 4,000 sentence pairs. But for that kind of performance that you get, you need maybe 500,000 sentences or something like that. Yes. That's because the other way of doing it, the non-statistical way, is the knowledge-based way, requires a lot of other knowledge-based resources, very rich dictionaries, not just translation dictionaries, but rich dictionaries, and we don't have those. There are some efforts. The WordNet is a very useful resource for that, so we need to build those up, and that's why this statistical method is like a shortcut, a quick way to get there.
Thank you, Dr. Rohan.
Thank you.